If you believe that calisthenics equals skinny legs, then think again. This is exactly how I've trained for years, and over time I've found an amazing system for complete development. Powerful quads, deep separation, and real aesthetics, all with time-efficient exercises you can do almost anywhere. In this video, I'll show you the exact approach, the exercises, the training structure, and how to progress. So let's get into it. It's very difficult to beat squats, that's well known in weightlifting, and that fact doesn't change just because we're relying on body weight. But there is a big difference. In the gym we overload by adding external weights, but with calisthenics the weight is constant. Pretty quickly you'll end up doing endless reps just to approach failure. So we need a way to keep it challenging as we get stronger, and this means we instead have to adjust the exercise itself over time. And for this, maybe the most popular adjustment is using one leg instead of two, known as the pistol squat. But these are almost too difficult. They require ankle and hip mobility as well as balance, often to a point where muscle fatigue isn't the limiting factor anymore. So in itself they're not optimal, but by making a few extra tweaks, we can emphasize muscle growth and make it more suitable across levels. The first one is adding elevation. This allows your leg to move below where it normally would hit the floor, removing most of the mobility limitations. A plyo box is perfect, but you can use whatever's available as long as it's stable. The second adjustment is adding assistance with the hand, simply holding onto a wall, a rig, or even a chair. This allows you to assist very dynamically and gradually start relying on it less and less. And it also removes the balance requirements. What's left is a scalable and surprisingly effective exercise, especially if you work one leg at a time and stop just before complete failure. For overall leg development, this is in my opinion the best way to start your workouts, but I usually don't do them alone. Afterwards, by keeping the same setup, we can continue straight into another useful exercise, which is step-ups. Here you place one leg on the box, one leg on the floor, and go into a deep lunge before stepping up. Extremely simple and works the entire leg with focus on the quads. Aim to place as much weight forward as you can, and if that's too difficult, you can help by pressing off the floor with your other leg. And much like before, I still recommend holding onto a wall or a rig to remove the balance requirements. Overall, this exercise is easier than the pistols, making it perfect as a follow-up to train the quads. But it also means that if you still need to build up some base strength, you can simply replace them as the first exercise. But for me, the combination of exercises going from pistols directly into step-ups was the game changer, and something that especially my quads respond extremely well to. Even if you do have weights available, this combo can serve as a less straining alternative, leaving more energy to focus on other goals at the same time. Of course, weighted squats is the golden approach and will always be number one in terms of building mass. But these variations offer a gentler and still highly effective alternative. In fact, it's so effective that I consider it the main thing you need for raw size. But of course, we can still implement some supporting exercises for more well-rounded development. While pistols and step-ups are great for overall development and do involve the hamstrings to a degree, they also benefit from some extra attention. Not just because of size, but given how important they are for knee health and lower body stability in general. Luckily, I think there's a pretty interesting and fun exercise to target them with, and that's Nordic curls. In this exercise, you'll need a pillow for your knees and some sort of ledge where you can get your heel or toes underneath. When you've found something stable like a stall bar or a couch, you can start by slowly lowering yourself. The goal is to resist the fall as much as possible before pressing back up again. And only doing the negative part is perfectly fine here, since it's more than difficult enough. So don't worry about pushing off the floor with some power to re-enter the starting position. Now, if the exercise seems too difficult, the way to make it easier is by changing the hip position. The more extended they are, the more difficult it becomes. So use that fact to scale the exercise. Just a few sets of these Nordic curls is really all we need for the hamstrings, so there's no need to complicate it further. Just know that each rep is pretty impactful with this exercise, so try avoiding complete burnout. Oh, the calves. Always a hot topic in leg workouts. For many, this is just a very demotivating muscle group, given how much genetics is in play here. But they do contribute to a complete look, and we can still make a big impact with consistent training. The simplest and most effective way to train them is through regular calf raises. Again, using the single leg principle to increase resistance. Stand on the edge of a step or raised surface, let your heel hang off, and step onto your toes as high as possible. Then lower your foot fully before stepping up again. The calves respond well to higher reps, so keep going until you feel the burn. I personally don't prioritize the calves very highly, so in that sense they are optional in this workout, but I still think they're important to include. Now that we know the exercises, let's put them together into an effective workout structure. The first exercise is assisted pistol squats. Go for 3 sets on each leg, doing at least 5 reps on both. So assist with your hand just enough to make that possible. Afterwards, you can continue into step-ups and fully drain the quads. For this exercise, doing 2 sets per leg is perfectly fine as long as you're training close to failure. But again, just avoiding full burnout. Now with the next exercise, we're moving into the supporting work with Nordic curls. Aim for 2 to 3 good sets of around 6 to 8 reps and adjust your resistance to make that possible. And for these, it's specifically important to avoid failure, otherwise they'll become way too draining. Finally, as the finisher, you can end the workout with 2 all-out sets of calf raises. Together this creates a short but balanced leg workout. For optimal growth, you can do it twice a week, but once a week will also lead to good progress. And I will say that if you have other goals besides muscle growth, you can easily implement more exercises. For example, if you want to become more explosive, working on box jumps is also pretty fun in my opinion. And gradually making the jumps higher is a refreshing way to track progress. If you do choose to do that, just make sure to place them as the first exercise in the workout. Now, if you want a full training plan that also includes either weighted calisthenics or skill training as well, you can check out my programs in the description. Before ending the video, I also quickly want to mention that if you're looking for some new calisthenics equipment, my sponsors at Gonation have some very high quality options. You can use my code JACOB10 for 10% off. I put the link in the description. That was it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new, and I will see you in the next one.